Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. We're back on the dev server and it's time to have a look at a new Swedish vehicle that is coming in, and this is the Sherman 3-4. Basically it's an amalgamation of a few Shermans and also brings once again something interesting into the game. What I mean by this is every nation now has a Sherman. Sweden was the only nation for the longest time to not have a variant of the Sherman, and well, here we are. It turns out now we have the Sherman 3-4. So this vehicle has access to the 75mm M3 cannon, the vertical stabilized one that you all know and love, and generally it works very well. Has access to the M60 one-shot, which is super powerful for the BR, especially since you have that vertical stabilizer. It means that you can easily get off the shots, which is quite nice. You also have access to the M72, the HE shell, and also the smoke shell. So generally it can do what it kind of wants to, especially since it's a premium and you get this shot for, well, you get all the modifications for free since it comes spaded, which is nice. It does have access to the artillery support as well, which is quite good on the vehicle and always nice to see for a vehicle like this. The major difference between this vehicle and a lot of other premium Shermans is not just the fact that it's two put together, kind of like the M4 hybrid, it's the fact that it doesn't have a 50 cal. There's no 50 cal, meaning that you don't get that extra kind of damage or anti-air support from the vehicle itself, which kind of sucks. But the coaxial 7.62mm M19 19A4 exists, which is quite nice, so you can at least use that while moving around. It has a crew of 5, 2 in the hull and 3 in the turret, so if your turret gets popped you can still live, you can still fight another day, and it has the standard 500 horsepower engine on the Sherman running the 30-ton vehicle, meaning that you can go forward at a decent click, but in reverse, because of the transmission, doesn't really help you too much, which is a problem. It does have some good gun depression though at -10, and the targeting speed is completely fine for the BR, which is pretty good. And of course the reload on the gun is also fantastic for this level. You can actually get it down to 5 seconds, which is very powerful for a vehicle like this. Another thing to also note about the Sherman 3-4 is all of its armor that's on the front of it. You have this upper glacis, it's only 90mm, but can bounce stuff, especially when angled, if people shoot at your front. And then also you have this kind of curved setup on the hull, which means it can get over 100mm of armor, which is quite nice, but it does have this weak spot right here of only 60mm. So if you are seeing one of these things, make sure to shoot in this little gap with HE, or sorry, APHE or anything like that. You'll be able to pen and do a ton of damage. Then you don't have too much armor on the side, same with over here, so going through the side or the back of it should be pretty simple. The main advantage of a vehicle like this is that it's rank 3, meaning that you can do all the dailies in it, and also specials, and also it's the only rank 3 premium that Sweden seem to have right now. You do have access to the T-34 and the Panzer IV also, so you can make the crazy combo of basically America, Germany and the USSR all together. Something which the Swedish struggled with for a long time was this kind of rank 3 area, but with the addition of Finland it helped quite a lot. So you can see how useful something like a Sherman 3-4 can be here. So not just from the research angle and getting through this area, but also through the daily and the special angle, which is super important for the vehicle. You also have all of these going around. You know, the rank 4 is where Sweden really starts to heat up, and then also going into rank 5 and 6 where everything just kind of goes crazy. So the Sherman 3-4 could be a good pickup to try and get you to that area to be able to kind of, you know, set up and have a pretty decent time. The standard camo on it as well is basically the tricolor standard, but you do get a striped version of it and also the unicolor one if you wanted. But overall, I think probably the quadricolor is the way to go. It's always nice to have a bunch of different patterns on these things, and overall, you know, make them look quite nice. But what you're getting here is pretty much a standard Sherman. If you haven't played a Sherman in War Thunder, I'll be incredibly surprised, since, you know, there's so many of them which are in the game now. It's kind of hard to miss them at the end of the day, especially if you've played America or any other area. The Sherman 2 is probably the closest to this thing, apart from this vehicle doesn't have access to, once again, that 50 cal, which does make a difference, and quite a huge one. If you've ever played something like the Chinese M4A4 and then compared it to the premium one, where the premium one has access to the 50 cal, it makes a huge difference for the vehicle, which is, you know, kind of crazy at the end of the day. The M61 shell will be able to kill pretty much anything you face, you know. Obviously, when it comes to the round, the vertical stabilizer helps it a lot to be able to get stuff on target. The sounds overall seem pretty nice on this thing, and it's just a vehicle to kind of put in a lineup and have, you know, a bit of fun with. The Sherman for me is kind of the bog standard, standard that you want for a vehicle at this BR. You know, good gun, which is punchy, and also at the same time, good reload and pretty good targeting speed. Everything about it is what we would class as average, which is why it did so well in the Second World War, because it didn't do anything crazily good, but what it did do is it emphasized survivability for the crew, and also was pretty good and efficient to manufacture and use, filling a lot of the roles that many people needed. So in War Thunder is pretty much the same. It's a vehicle that's not going to, you know, set a bunch of people's you know, thoughts alight or anything like that, but bog standard wise, especially for a premium, you know it's a safe bet, and you know it's going to, you know, do you well. And that's sometimes what people need when it comes to a game like this. You don't need flashy premiums, you don't need things that kind of are massively unique and interesting and crazy. Sometimes you just need vehicles that'll get the job done, that'll get you your research, so you can get to those nuts vehicles which are incredibly fun. One of the things that should be mentioned about Sweden is it does already have a ton of very unique vehicles in it, and ones which are super enjoyable to play. So, as the idea for a vehicle like this, you pick it up to get to those vehicles, and also be able to do all of the additional challenges that exist when it comes to the game. As always, hope you have a wonderful day. I'll see you next time. I'd just like to thank Millie Draper, Juan the Panda, Nick R. Kupila, Carrion Crow, Gus Irenicus, Pyman, Merciless Reaper, Orange Tail, Teddy, Daniel Stanton, Moxie B. Young, Peter Grayling, Jerry Provolt, Bareen, Alan Hacker, Sem Arslan, Uncle Bean, Derek R., and Lafouche for supporting the channel.